Revenge is a dish best served cold. Caleb Williams looking for some revenge on Jayden Daniels from last year, and Tyrique Stevenson looking for some redemption. Bears Commanders in 6 days. We're talking about it all. It's CHGO Bears After Dark starting right now. Welcome back to CHGO Bears After Dark, presented by our good friends over at Circa Sports, Illinois. Circa Sports, it's sports betting the way it should be. Make sure you're downloading your Circa Sports Illinois app today. Throwing down some bets. I don't want to throw any bets on the Cubbies. Their season's just about done. We'll see. We'll see if they can pull off the miracle. If not, Shayne's Dodgers are going to have to pick up the pieces and make sure they knock the Brewers out of the playoffs in the next round. But we'll get there as the Cubs season might be coming to an end. Hope not. Hope not. Hopefully they can surprise us and see what happens. But the Blackhawks season just got underway here tonight. Bulls preseason started here tonight. So you got CHGO Blackhawks post game. You got CHGO Bulls post games. They're going to be coming right to your doorstep here at CHGO Sports. Then, of course, our Chicago Bears, Shayne, are looking at an opportunity to get over 500, scratched and clawed their way from 0-2 here. I know we haven't spoken here in a minute since my debauchery for a week in Vegas, but now that we're here and now that the dust is settled and you're sitting here at the bye, kind of where is your headspace at?
Statement game, week 6. And it is. I see it no other way. Like I said, these guys, if they have to get motivated for this game, they shouldn't be on the roster. Mostly everybody was here last year and saw the way that the things went down. Ben Johnson lost to this team in the playoffs, so he shouldn't need any motivation either. Tyrique playing well, going back to the scene of the crime. Caleb taking you down the field, thinking that you sneak out a W on the road. And then we all know what happened. You give away free yards and bing, bang, boom. The Hail Mary comes to pass, and that's where we're at. But to me, this is a statement game.
Yeah.
Already.
It really is. And when you look at, some of his draft classmates who, whether Bears fans like it or not, they'll always be compared. Some big road wins. You had Drake May win a huge game on the primetime stage against the Buffalo Bills. You had Jayden Daniels go on the road and take down Jim Harbaugh and the Chargers, and then you also had Bo Nix go into your favorite town, Philadelphia, and pull a pretty crazy upset there against the Eagles. Scoring some unanswered points, going on a run there, and having some clutch throws at the end. So, I know Caleb Williams took down Green Bay to end last season. With the Cairo Santos kick to finish it off. But, as much as we do like to have fun with Packer fans about that loss, and we will continue to do that just because it irritates them. I don't know if you can define that as a signature win after losing 10 in a row. It was a big one. They needed it to go into the offseason as much as it might have affected some of their draft situation. They needed that win for more ways than one. But I don't know if it is defined as a signature win. This coming Monday night, on the primetime stage with everything that you're hanging on the line here. Tyrique Stevenson obviously is going to be at the forefront. How many times they show that Hail Mary by Monday could get into the hundreds, the 200s, 300s. So they all got to wear this. And then obviously it's Caleb Williams' hometown, right? And so I think the biggest thing, the word of the week that I hope Ben Johnson understands, I think needs to be of the utmost importance is composure.
Yeah.
Because I think these guys are going to be really dialed up for this game, obviously, but there's a right level, of how dialed up you are. And last year, Caleb Williams was way too dialed up for being in front of his hometown.
He was.
And now you look at Tyrique Stevenson and how well he's played the last few weeks. You got to keep that at the right temperament so you can go into this game and not make any mental errors.
Yeah, you're 100% correct. You know, the guy, it is what it is. And let's be honest, Greg, 85% of America and fans and experts want Caleb Williams to go in there and have a complete meltdown and fail on the field, because that's the way that he is treated by these guys. So this is what they want. They want the low-hanging fruit of a Chicago Bears quarterback to be abysmal, and they can fall back into that, you know, leading off every single show with that. And it's, to this point, he hasn't had that game. And Ben Johnson, I think he understands that these guys weren't perfect either, you know, in terms of the coaching staff. And I'm talking about Ben Johnson himself in this current coaching staff. You know, you heard him talk a little bit about the self-scout during the bye, and him saying how bad that he has been just getting the plays in himself. We've been sitting here worried about Caleb deciphering the plays and getting them out, and here our head coach is having an issue along with that. But who takes the brunt of that on game day? It's going to be the quarterback. So listen, it's one of those things. It's everybody is on the line, and just like when we were in Vegas and saw how that unfolded, we were all waiting for the Bears to lose. That's just what you do as a Bears fan. You're like, all right, we went up. First thing that enters your mind, there's too much time on the clock. This is, like I said, you're starting to steer the Titanic away from the iceberg. And a win in DC in prime time on, you know, Caleb versus Jayden, Bears versus Commanders, you come out with a W from that, you're gonna turn some heads. You're going to start to command a little bit more respect. Then you move on to next week.
Well, and you continue to build this culture, because these last two wins have been culture foundational setting games.
Yeah.
But this upcoming game is, maybe it is overstated, but I'm known for hyperbole from time to time. I know a shocker there, but this is a culture defining game. I think
100%.
These last two games were more foundational setting, good, better, best type of foundation. This is how we want to play. You heard Ben Johnson say today that these guys are still learning how to play for each other, win for each other. And they did that at the end of the Raiders game. Maybe they didn't do that against the Lions, where, you know, everything started to look and feel too much like last year, and they let go of the rope and give up, you know, a 50 burger. Yep. So, you know, but to me, this upcoming game is a lot like, you know, the Patriots going to Buffalo, where you understand, I mean, you're close to that, and how important that rivalry is.
100%, man.
Patriots have had the upper hand in that rivalry.
Yeah.
And so that's significant for Drake May, not only to go in there and take down the MVP of the league, but also to reestablish, hey, we are here and we're serious. They're now 3-2 and talking about the playoffs.
100%. And guess where we're going to be if you can go into DC and win. You're going to be right there. And it's hard to say that you're heading into any soft portion of a Chicago Bears schedule, but if there was a soft portion, we are going to be entering it
right
after this Commanders game. So that's why this game is even much more important, because at the beginning, we all know at the beginning of the year, we looked at the Cincy Baltimore back-to-back games and they're like, you know, yikes. Well, things have changed. You're going from Joe Burrow to Joe Flacco with the news today, and whatever's going to unfold in Baltimore. But again, we can't get ahead of ourselves there. It's just Ben's got to have this team focused on the task at hand. And we saw Washington, like you said, Greg, go into LA, and this run defense, that's the number one worry, because these guys can run the football. They can be explosive with it. They can grind out the clock. And we saw what the Bears have been against the run. They have to crank that up, or it's gonna be really, really tough to win.
Yeah, I mean, no question there, because I saw a stat, and I want to make sure I give the proper credit here to that. So bear with me here. But to your point about stopping the run and how this team has been, Quentin Crisco at Butkus Stats, who's one of my more favorite follows, you know, a guy that really follows offensive line play, does good work for Windy City Gridiron. He tweets out Bears defensive rankings by down through week 5. On first down, EPA per play 32nd in the league, success rate 32nd in the league. Second down, EPA per play 21st in the league, success rate 27th in the league. Then all of a sudden at third down, EPA per play on defense, first in the league, success rate second in the league.
Doesn't make sense at all.
It doesn't, but it has to make you, like, for you, Shayne, as somebody that, like, I know every third and whatever it was with Eberflus, you'd lose your mind.
Third and anything.
At least they have a defense coordinator that knows what to do on third down, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, previous regimes, listen, as much as I love Vic Fangio, the Bears struggled in, you know, do you remember the picket fence defense that Vic used to employ that used to drive everybody crazy? But yeah, that's the thing. And it just, they gotta get this pass rush going, Greg. I don't know if it's going to come from Shamar Turner, if Montez Sweat is finally going to wake up and make, you know, an impact bringing down the quarterback. He's got to. I mean, at this point, he's hovering around 8.5%, you know, pass rush win rate as a Bear, which is abysmal for what he's being paid. But it's, when you're a young team, these plays, it just takes a spark to light the fire. You know, you saw the Bears, one big pass, you know, one big play down the field, things can ignite, you know, a big run. And it's the same way on defense. You know, you force a fumble, you force a pick, you sack the quarterback on third down, somebody like Jayden Daniels, that can get you going. But it's so hard because they're so undermanned in terms of pass rush. We'll see. You know, I know everybody's excited about Austin Booker, you know, IR to return and all that. It's just, you're talking about a guy that's got some traits, but he's got no track record.
He's still got to prove himself.
Right. I mean, he's a literal nobody in terms of the NFL, and that's where we are relying on a 5th round draft pick to come in and you know, provide more pass rush than our almost $100 million pass rusher in Montez Sweat. It's a problem.
Yeah. No, and so to that point, while they have been good on third down as a collective defense, on first down, they're 32nd in the league because, to your point, the run defense has been pitiful. And obviously that was on full display with Ashton Genty in the Raiders. But this rookie running back for Washington isn't anything to look over. No. And he's had a good start to the season. Washington in general, the last couple of years, you know, under Cliff Kingsbury certainly has ran the ball well, and that's been a saving grace for Jayden Daniels and his development. And so, you know, it's going to be interesting to see what adjustments they make, because, you know, obviously the Bears know what the problem is, but do they have what they need to fix it? Now, TJ Edwards also may return, Kyler Gordon, those certainly will help, especially with your depth. But at the end of the day, some of these guys that have already been, playing these last 4 weeks really got to step up. Andrew Billings had a decent showing against the Raiders. I thought he had a really good first half. Then I think things started to kind of fall apart in the second half a little bit, not just for him, but the whole defensive line. So, you know, ultimately, I mean, all eyes continue to be on Montez Sweat. I think I heard on the CHGO Bears show at noon that they have 5 different guys leading the team in sacks. The only problem is they all have 1 sack.
Right. Yeah.
So that's not good. You know,
need more out of that.
Well, yeah, it's definitely not good enough. But we shall see. We're going to be getting into some different things here going forward. Draft Dr. Phil Ottochian from The Tape Never Lies, as is Shayne Marsaw, will be joining us here shortly, and we'll get into some of that stuff. Wanted to give a quick shout out to an event that we are going to be coming up on Monday. Hogue did just put it out on Twitter, and so I wanted to make sure that I got this in here, but let me make sure I get this graphic in here and get it all to you guys, because on Monday night for pregame, a foundation, that if you remember Vaughn McClure and obviously Jeff Dickerson, they have a foundation, the TVMJD Foundation, and they're going to be doing a watch party here coming up at 950 West Fulton Market, Chicago, Illinois here. Doors open at 6:30. You can get your tickets if you want to come, and obviously it's for charity, it's for a good cause. This isn't a CHGO event, but we are going to be doing our pregame show there, and we are going to be hanging out, for some of the game. We do have to get back to the studio, which is actually down the street from this event at some point to do the post-game show. So if you go to tvmjd-fundraiser.eventify.com, you can get your tickets there. Hogue put the all the information on Twitter as well if you're looking for it. But we'll be there. It's a great cause. Anybody that knew Vaughn McClure or Jeff Dickerson, they were two of the best on the Bears beat. We definitely miss those guys dearly, and so we're excited to be there and support a great cause. Look at that. There you go. And that wasn't even planned. That's
right.
Good stuff. But that just shows you the impact.
I'll pretend like you didn't text me before the show to wear it, but it's fine.
Yeah. Yeah. No, but that just goes to show you the impact that Jeff Dickerson had, on this beat. And Vaughn McClure is one of the few people that was in possession of the Devin Hester Chronicles back in the day. I actually gave him a copy, so I know he was very excited for that. So we're going to take a quick time out. As I said, Draft Dr. Phil will be joining us here in a little bit. We'll certainly get his thoughts on how the Ben Johnson era has started. Get into more Chicago Bears talk as well. So hit the like button. Don't go away. We're going to give a shout out to our sponsors. Appreciate every single one of you. Whatever the sport, the app to bet is Circa Sports Illinois. Circa Sports, it's sports betting the way it should be. Circa Sports Illinois has high betting limits, low holds, and exceptional customer service. Bet on all your favorite teams in every game this season, whether it's spreads, props, futures, or in-game. Circa Sports has it for you. Fund and bet like a pro from anywhere, anytime in Illinois. It's the start of the hockey season. That's right. CHGO Blackhawks getting underway with the first game of the regular season. NBA starts up. Preseason's underway. Regular season's right around the corner. Of course, you still have Major League Baseball playoffs. And then, of course, the NFL football season. There's a lot to get to in Circa Sports Illinois. If you go on their app, they're going to have all of it for you. So download your new bookie today at circasports.com. Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Always got to give a big time shout out to our good friends over at Circa Sports Illinois. Also, hey, if you're putting some bets down on these games, you want to go to these games too. Live the action with our good friends over at Game Time. The Game Time app gives the advantage back to the fans. It's the hack for unlocking amazing tickets and experiences in just a few taps. It's incredibly easy to use, and the Game Time guarantee means you can trust you'll get 100% authentic tickets on time and at the best price. Plus, fees are always included, so what you see is what you pay. That's super important because when you go on some of these secondary ticket markets, they try to tell you the price is one thing. 6 windows later, it's a completely different price than what you signed up for. So take the guesswork out of buying NFL tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code CHGO for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code CHGO for $20 off. That's tap, ticket, go. Download the Game Time app today. All right, we're here at CHGO Bears After Dark. Please hit the like button while you're hanging out. Appreciate every single one of you. Even James Hunter, who asks, damn, who is the new guy, Wasram? Who is this Greg Ref guy? Who's this Greg? This Greg guy. James, he came over to After Dark and he's like, who's this guy, Shayne?
I don't know who this Greg guy is. We're
sorry, I'm Greg.
Yeah, me and CHGO got together and we thought we were going to give this Greg guy a run. We'll see how he does.
See what the meatball can do. But appreciate you hanging out, James.
Actually, we need somebody on staff here at CHGO that's going to level out the enthusiasm of the true QB1 and Caleb Williams. Yeah, we thought QB2 was getting a little bit too high on the pedestal at CHGO, so we brought in Greg to
Carm with his Bajent propaganda. He's gonna have to shelf it here for a little bit because Caleb Williams really has taken steps here, right? I mean, we haven't had a chance to talk about it on the air. We talked a little bit about it off the air. And that was kind of where I wanted to take it with you until we await Phil's arrival and get some of his thoughts on Ben Johnson and things of that nature. But, a stock up, stock down type of thing when you look at some of this roster, and we can start with Caleb Williams and then maybe go to some of the other guys that maybe some people aren't talking about enough. But you got to be encouraged with the trend and the direction that Caleb Williams is in right now in terms of his development. Each week seems to have kind of given him a different obstacle, a different hurdle, a different litmus test, if you will. Obviously a big one coming up here on Monday, but so far so good here 4 weeks into his career under Ben Johnson.
Yeah, and I'm right there with you. You want to see the incremental progress, and like I said, and he has shown it. And what the most critical part of Caleb Williams' game that I've been impressed with, just remove the analyst, remove the tape, remove all of that. If you just look at it from a fan's perspective, is he gives you hope in critical moments that when you looked at former QB1s in Chicago, you're like, oh, the track record's not there of following through, of going down and making big plays. When things are on the line, I have faith that Caleb Williams is going to find a way to make a play, to make a throw, to run the football, to keep the drive alive. And he's done that. Now, is he a finished product? No, he's not. And he's not going to be a finished product ever in the league. That's the way this league works. People thinking that he should be a finished product after 21 games, whatever. It's craziness. You see the progress. And again, if you go back to week 1, Greg, and when we did our first show talking about it, I said, everybody's saying, he's got to get rid of the ball quicker. It was never that. He needed to slow his internal clock down. He was almost fidgety, and he was hopping, and his feet were all over the place.
Yep.
Because he just hadn't settled in. You're seeing that more and more, and that's why you're seeing this. I mean, there was people out there, people that have been employed in the NFL before, that said that this kid didn't have a good arm. Then they're right. He doesn't have a good arm. He has an elite level top 3 arm talent in the entire league. So yes, you're right. Good isn't the correct label. Bravo for you people that have said that. It's craziness. It's just the Bears. Listen, it comes down to the game of football, man. They're even as much money as Ryan Poles and the staff has paid for the interior of this offensive line. There's still issues there. Dahlman is an issue. Jackson has been an issue. People want to bag on Darnell Wright. Darnell Wright, away from the penalties, is playing good football. Braxton Jones is out now. He's a backup. We'll see how Theo Benedict does. But it's, one hand washes the other in all of this. And Caleb Williams has taken a more than solid step as an NFL quality quarterback. That arrow is pointing up. It's exactly where we wanted it. Even if we said we didn't make the playoffs this year, you wanted to come away saying QB1 is set. After that, everything else is easier to fill.
Yep. I mean, when you talk about the 2 things that Ben wanted to work on with him the most, when he took the job in January, he talked about, Poles said he wanted him to learn how to be a professional. So that work ethic that you put in the middle of the week leading up to the game.
Yep.
And then also your composure was another thing Ben Johnson cited, like how you react through adversity. And so when you look at from a preparation standpoint, step 1, look at how they've started games. Look at that speaks to the preparation. That's what makes me excited here coming up here on Monday. The Bears, as of late, haven't been a great team coming out of the bye week because they rarely are more prepared than the team across from them. I expect differently from Ben Johnson, but just in terms of preparation, Caleb has looked under control because he's looked prepared. And then number 2, from a composure standpoint, the Vegas game was on full display. You got Max Crosby ripping your head off for a half, and then you respond in the second half with 3 out of your 4 drives in the second half result in scoring drives. And a touchdown to Rome Odunze. I shared it on Instagram from Rome's page. The angle of that throw coming from the end zone and the anticipation he threw with that. So encouraging signs. And another encouraging sign is that our guy, Draft Dr. Phil, joining the show. How are you, Phil? How was practice?
It was a great practice tonight under the lights.
Under the lights, you're 5-0.
Should we introduce him as the head coach of the Southington Valley Wolverines?
I mean,
rather
we
than
should.
DDP?
I mean, honestly, we should, because we can joke with Phil all we want. I mean, he obviously has a deep history of football in his family. And you're
hadn't heard that before.
Putting all your passion into this these young bucks and trying to develop these guys as football players. But when I saw the video of your son throw a 50-yard, it looked like a 50-yard touchdown pass, because you've been saying this for like 2 years, and it's like, okay, all right, Phil, like, I know you're proud papa, we get it. Then I watched the video and I'm like, whoa, what is that? Where did that come from?
Yeah, he's got a special talent, man. It's impressive out there. It's tough to juggle when you're the coach's son, or you're the head coach and your son, and you fit that stereotype. You don't want to be that stereotype, but he wanted to play quarterback. I thought he was a tremendous running back, but the ability to throw the ball and put it on time and accurate he works on it. He lives it. He watches every play of the Bears and Caleb Williams and games. So he's all about the game of football. And listen, we have a high school type of offense that I'm challenging these 10 to 12-year-olds to learn, and they are embracing it. And we had 1,500 people at the game watching this past Saturday night. It was impressive to see the turnout and the support from the town and neighboring towns. So we're 5-0 heading into this Sunday, and special things. But yeah, the whole team is doing. You got
a lot to be proud of as a coach, and obviously you got a lot to be proud of as a father. So great work, and I know your sons Devin and Tate are going to continue to ascend here. So shout out to them. Matt Nagy here in our chat says it's from the mom, not from Phil. So, and you know what? Stephanie is a good woman, so you're not far off there, Matt.
By the way, Devin Ottochian, best sack dance in the league by far. Not even close.
Well, it's been
a warning: no sack dances. He was told by the ref. I go, don't worry, just do it. We'll take.
I love it. So yeah, Phil, let's get caught back up, man. I mean, the Bears are kind of where we thought. I mean, I definitely felt like they had a realistic pathway to 3-1. It didn't happen. It should have happened, but it didn't. They certainly scratched and clawed their way to 2-2. So that's just kind of the way the football bounces in the NFL. But now that the dust is settled, I mean, you're kind of you are the head coach whisperer. It's much to the chagrin at times of fans when you're telling the truth. And giving your perspective on what you're seeing, whether it's through the coach of the years with Matt Nagy or the flops of the year with Matt Eberflus. You've always kind of told it like it is. So now you've seen Ben Johnson go to work here for 4 weeks, and the dust has settled a little bit here in the bye. Is it too early for you to make any kind of indication on the type of head coach that Ben Johnson is, or where is your headspace at with him?
I said I would know after 5 weeks if he was a fraud, and I don't have that feeling in my gut at all going into the 5th game. So I feel like you see a real sense of searching for an identity going on without the narrative of it, just throwing it out there and really not doing it. I really sense that he is finding it. You're holding players accountable, not only after games, but during games. I mean, when's the last time we've seen a left tackle get benched in the middle of a game? It was probably Mike Ditka. I don't think Lovie Smith or any of these coaches had. And I talk about, you have to be maniacal and do everything in your power to win. And when you have an organization, and you could say whatever it is you want, I love the Bears, but the ownership all the way down has been pitiful at best when it comes to making winning a priority. The head coach clearly is making winning a priority, not only on tape, but in the game. As I'm watching it, I see what he's struggling with and what he's doing right to find that identity and make sure it becomes a part of it. And the players are responding. The team, I mean, that was just a great game. People can poo-poo the opponent. You know, Dallas goes out there and ties Green Bay. You beat Dallas pretty good, right? You handled them pretty well. So in the NFL, you can't play that game. And we hear a lot of these blog boys do that, as well as the national guys. They kind of measure and power ranking. And it's, what are you doing this Sunday? Where is the matchup? And how are you going to attack it? That's what a real head coach does. And so far, Greg, I've been very happy with Coach Ben Johnson. I don't honestly like the use of running backs. I'll say that, like how they've showcased this. I think that's
Wait till he finds out they pulled Travis Homer off IR today.
I saw it coming off the field. I got a text from Chris Price saying, this is what they're doing at running back, Travis Homer. I'm like, But other than that, I really like where this is going, Greg. And listen, this is a big test coming off the bye. For me as a coach, this is your litmus test. This is where you've put a week and a half, 2 weeks for him, but a week and a half with your team together to go out and battle an opponent that you're preparing for an advantage time. So you've gotten 2 more games of them to see and recognize, you know, the last game they played when you were with the Raiders. Now this past weekend, or was it Monday night they play, or Sunday night football rather. So now you're going to attack. Where's their weaknesses? How are you going to attack them? This is where Ben makes his bread. And I'm excited to see it, where they're going with it.
Yeah, it's certainly going to be interesting to see. It's going to be an exciting Monday night. I know Bears fans are going to be emotionally invested into this game on a level that I think not all games are treated the same, with everything that happened last year that followed the loss to Washington and the 10-game losing streak. And so rooting really hard for Tyrique Stevenson, who's had a pretty remarkable turnaround here from the first 2 games of the year where he was really having a tough time with the absence of Kyler Gordon and Jalen Johnson, and the way he's responded in the Cowboys and Raiders games. I'm really hoping he can carry that momentum into Washington, because I mean, we're all about the storylines, but could you imagine a scenario where Tyrique Stevenson gets a pick 6 on the Monday Night Football stage?
Redemption song?
Yeah, I mean, seriously, when you talk, I mean, seriously though, I mean, like, it's a dream scenario. But
the best thing in the world that he could do is just to hand the ball to the ref and run back. See, that is the impact statement if he does that.
Yeah. Well, and you know, when he had that turnover, forced fumble against Dallas, he did that right in front of Matt Eberflus, and he could have turned around and let Matt know.
Handed him the ball.
Right. He could have, but he didn't. Right. And so that's a big step, because it's not just about the fact that he turned around at the crowd and cost the Hail Mary by batting it to the, you know, Washington's receiver. You know, he had, as I pointed out yesterday on CHGO Bears, is like, he's had times where he's like poking dudes in the eye. That happened last year in the Washington game as well. And we haven't seen that side of him this year. He's really kept, you know, his competitiveness in check, because sometimes that can go a little above, where you get, you know, personal fouls after the whistle and things of that nature. So, you know, I was talking earlier, Phil, to Shayne, and said, you know, to me this week, this game on Monday, with everything that it means from an emotional standpoint to these players, is, to me, the word of this week needs to be composure. These guys got to play with competitiveness and fire and look to exact some revenge on what happened last year, right some wrongs, but they have to keep their composure. They cannot let this overtake them, because that's where mistakes can happen.
Well, I look at it, you got to be locked in and disciplined. That's really what Ben is preaching, and that's basically why I see and feel comfortable with him, because the players are rising up to the occasion. There's going to be the mistakes, obviously the drops from Komet. You saw last game they played, they got to, tighten that up. People have to, you're seeing people run their routes, blocking assignments are being done appropriately. There's going to be mistakes that you hope they clean up, but the locked in, focused energy of what you're talking about is what is necessary. You're not wrong. It's a focused, business-like approach to Monday Night Football. Now you should kind of understand your identity. Everything runs through this amazing talent at quarterback, and that's how it should be. And now hopefully they find kind of a 1-2 punch at running back. I hope they use Monengai a lot more and see if he can get it going with him. I like some things that I saw on tape with him, and I was hoping you'd get more of that. I don't like the DJ Moore in the backfield stuff. I think you could save that for Matt Nagy if he ever returns.
He's in our chat.
Get rid of that stuff and try to focus in on Monengai and Swift going full bore at Washington and the action game off of it. Greg, I've said for as long as everybody knows TTNL and before, it's so important you get your quarterback under center and let him see the field from there, especially a younger quarterback. Get him under center, let him know the mechanics and the rhythm of the passing game, and Ben has done that. So, like, every step of which I would have attacked the Bears, he's kind of gotten to. Like, the only weakness, obviously, we talk about Ryan Poles with personnel, but the running back position, I think you need a lot more Monengai in early downs and make Swift be that third down, change of pace, explosive guy.
Yep.
Because you're playing their roles backwards based on what I see on tape. Now, Swift at one point when the game was critical started running hard. That was near the end of the game. But you have to be that way. That's what you're talking about, Greg. The entire team has to come in with that aggressive, focused, locked-in energy. I haven't seen it from Swift and some of these guys. Hopefully this week we're going to see that.
Yeah, I mean, Swift had the big drop to start the game against Vegas, and eventually bounced back at the end of the game, similar to almost the Minnesota game where early on they couldn't get anything going, but then the one drive that, ended up, we don't need to relitigate this, but the bad call on Darnell Wright, Swift did start to run the ball on that drive. So, it does show, I think, the war of attrition. These guys are getting better as the game goes along. Got to take one more quick timeout. And when we come back, Phil mentioned and Shayne talked about the switch of Braxton Jones coming out and some younger tackles coming in. So going to talk a little bit about that. So we're going to take a quick 2-minute timeout and hit the like button while you're hanging out, as always, and more Chicago Bears talk on your way. Hey guys, now is as good a time as ever to become a diehard here at CHGO Sports with basketball and baseball just starting underway. NFL season's right in the thick of things as the Bears are trying to find their way over 500. If you sign up to become a diehard at allchgo.com/diehard, you get exclusive written content for every team we cover in Chicago. If you're looking for the Bears coverage, obviously Adam Johns, Adam Hogue, Mark Carman, Patrick Norton, the coverage is second to none from a written standpoint. That comes to you exclusively, but it's also included, again, as I said, with Bulls, Bears, Cubs, White Sox, Blackhawks, Sky. Doesn't matter. Whatever sport we do here in Chicago, we cover it here at CHGO Sports. So again, go to allchgo.sports.com/diehard to sign up. And when you do, you get a free shirt right out the gate. We've got some new Bears designs for you guys. Here, the CHGO football one at the bottom I just ordered here just a little bit ago. So have a chance to sign up, get a free t-shirt, and then you can also get discounts on events, including our tailgates that are every single home game at the corner of Wabash and Cermak. That's right. We'll be back for the Saints game once again. It is a party you do not want to miss. And if you're a diehard, once again, you get a discount on that event, but you don't have to be a diehard. If you want to come out, just go to allchgo.com/events to sign up to the event. But again, being a diehard is where it's at, because you'll be able to get the event discount. You'll be able to get the free shirt. You'll be able to get the exclusive written content and everything in between. So a lot of different opportunities at your disposal, but make sure you guys come out to our tailgates. They are the absolute gold standard in Chicago Bears tailgating and pre-gaming. So hope to see you out there. Gonna have a lot of fun. All you can drink, all you can eat. So we'll see you for the Saints game here coming up soon. That's right. We're back here on CHGO Bears After Dark with Shayne Marsaw and Phil Ottochian from the Tape Never Lies Network. Appreciate everybody hanging out in the chat. Hit that like button. Even you, Matt Nagy, appreciate it. As long as you're hitting the like button. I saw somebody say, I will not Ron Weasley, because he's mad that we took a timeout. But I got to take a timeout to give a shout out to our sponsors of the fine program. That's what keeps the lights on, and we appreciate them very much. But yeah, I'm going to set the table. I'll start with you, Shayne, but I definitely want to hear both your perspective on this, because to me, it was one of those defining moments for a head coach when you have arguably the best player in football wrecking your game in Max Crosby and destroying the offensive continuity, destroying your quarterback's confidence. I'm hard pressed, and I know we saw Khalil Mack, so we saw it a few times, but to watch a guy in person single-handedly just take over a game like that, it's not often you see that from somebody that is not a quarterback or a running back.
That's why you draft defensive ends.
Yeah, why you should.
We just haven't figured that out here.
Yeah, well, hey, there's always next year, as the Cubs would say, and
yeah.
So we'll see if Ryan Poles figures it out. But Shayne, I'll start with you, because there's some injuries on the offensive line. Darnell Wright hurts his arm, but even then, Theo Benedict comes in for Braxton Jones. And that was certainly a big moment. Theo did start out initially on the right side with Darnell Wright getting hurt, but then moves over to the left side. And so at one point, you go from having two guys that have had a lot of experience in this league to two tackles with no experience in this league. So from what you saw from Darnell, or from that switch of Darnell Wright and Braxton Jones to Ozzie Trapillo and Theo Benedict, what did you see from those guys in that game? Certainly was not an easy environment to kind of be introduced to this whole thing.
Well, in game, what bothered me the most was Theo Benedict looked like a soft football player at right tackle. Phil and I were texting back and forth, and I'm like, he got smoked a couple of times, and he just got up and hung his head and walked back to the line for the next down. And I'm like, I did not like seeing that, and for whatever reason, it just must be, how he feels about playing right tackle. It's just, I guess it's just not in him. I don't really love that aspect of it, but is he great, and is he a technician at left tackle? No, he's not, but I'll tell you what, he anchors better than Braxton Jones ever has in 4 years. And I don't want to hear the injury excuse from people that are pro Braxton Jones, because he's had 4 years. He had 3 years before the injury to learn how to anchor better. He just hasn't. And I gotta listen, Ozzie Trapillo, everybody knows where TTNL was on draft day. Phil and I were very open, very vocal about on draft day. We didn't see left tackle tendencies in Trapillo. That played out. I know a guy that's on this panel that was talking about him being a godsend and falling to us, but that's
Yes, I was excited about Ozzie
right now. Yeah, but it's just nothing on tape ever screamed left tackle to Ozzie Trapillo, other than a general manager that's in over his head that said, "Oh, we can just make him a left tackle because he's an offensive lineman." No, there's a physical nature to his game. Phil can speak on this much better than I can because the offensive line is his bag, but I still see a lot of stiffness in Ozzy's game that worries me, moving forward. And it's hard because he's a rookie and you want to give him the benefit of the doubt there. But our best tackle by a country mile, it's not even close, is Darnell Wright. And people need to realize that it's they're not in the same stratosphere of offensive tackles. They're just not. Darnell is got to get the penalties out of his system, but beyond that, his play on the field has been probably not up to what you want overall. I think he needs to get in better shape. I think Jonah Jackson needs to get in better shape. I think there's that goes along the line, notwithstanding with some of these guys, but just the physical nature that Theo Benedict gave me at left tackle, I think he's more physical than Braxton. I see that in Ozzy's game too. But Phil, I'll let you take over from there because I know early on you've been saying that the workaround for this, I don't think they're there yet, but the next move for them to make would be a switch from Darnell to left tackle. Yeah. But I'll let you speak on that.
I predicted that's what's going to happen when you selected Ozzy because my eyes don't lie. It's clear that Ozzy was a right tackle only type of guy. That's where his lack of athleticism could help benefit his play. You're not going to get athletic feet all of a sudden unless you're doing some sort of Tai Chi.
Not
I don't know
if
if he's doing that. So
I guess explain that though, because for me, and I certainly coaching staff should know better. Brian Pohl should know better, but I don't understand. Don't you need the same type of athleticism on the right side that you do on the left side to play tackle?
Mm-hmm.
No, this is it's very odd. Like I would love to break it down. Like some people just don't understand. It's very difficult. Even the move from right guard to left guard is hard for athletes, certain athletes. They can't transition. Now some can do it without a problem, but it's a some thing. It's a 50% thing. So when you look at somebody on tape and they lack the kind of feet that is necessary to protect on a blind side and you put it backwards, it's like somebody trying to throw a football with their left hand. You have a struggle with it. There's some people that could do it. I can't do it. I can't throw a football. So you have to look at it in that kind of frame. You're being asked not only to know your assignment, use your technique and your aggressiveness. The whole goal of your offensive line is to know your assignment and go full speed with confidence. If you're not confident or comfortable, or you lack the kind of athleticism that I'm looking for in an offensive lineman, like Banks could do whatever. The kid Banks from Texas, he could play guard, left tackle, right tackle because of the athleticism. You just, oh my God, this kid's an athlete. You just see it. Where Trappill is more mechanical. He can't do it. Exactly. You're not going to find an elite switch hitter. That's a perfect analogy for that. So when Shayne's talking about
Chipper
the best,
Jones, he was an elite switch hitter.
Even I know who that kid is. So when you're talking about Darnell Wright, he's clearly your best tackle overall because of his athleticism, his point of attack power, and everything like that. Now, if you're dumb, like a guy named Jesse, then you can't understand the definition of best not being in regards to, penalties. You got to clean that up. But the reality is, who's the best talent there? Is Max Crosby the best talent at D end right now? It's pretty easy to see, just like it is when you're looking at the roster of the Bears, and you can't be dumb, you got to be smart and look at it appropriately. He's your best tackle by far. So what are you going to do now? When I saw Theo Benedict playing right tackle, I'm like, oh no, he's that guy that needs to be only on the left. That's where he's comfortable. He's not the hitter that can hit righty. He's a lefty. So you see that he lacked the aggressiveness and the ability to do it, where once he was moved over to the left side, okay, now you see his steps, his kick slide step, his ability to punch. Everything was in rhythm. It was in confidence, Greg, and it really showed up on tape. And then Trapillo comes in to play the right side to replace Benedict because, the switch, Braxton gets pulled, which was a great thing. And then you see Trapillo a heck of a lot more comfortable, stronger. He has a good anchor. He just is a little robotic, Greg. He's not as fluid. That's why you can't put him out there. Whereas the right side, you're looking at a punch and your ability to move with it, and the quarterback's righty, so he can now help a right tackle more than a left tackle because it's your blind side. And that's why you want your better athlete to be able to move fluidly with these elite pass rushers and kind of anchor and wall them off and move them on the backside of your quarterback's blind side. That's why it's not cliche. It's very true. And it showed up on the tape that Benedict's a better left tackle. Trapillo's a better right tackle. Darnell is the best of the both. So what are you going to do? Are you going to
ultimately
Benedict, or are you going to put – so you might have to put Darnell at left tackle if that's the case. Based on what I say as a coach, you put your best 5 out there. How that is totally up to you. So for me, it would be right now, just looking at it, it would be Darnell moving to the left tackle, and then you're going to start Trapillo because Darnell is a better tackle than Benedict. And then this is your second round pick. Get him out there and work his craft now and build him up.
And it comes down to your best 5, right? That's the conversation you're having, is because moving Darnell from right to left, you might be hindering Darnell right, but you need your best 5 out there. So it is going to be interesting to see how this unfolds. Now, Darnell Wright still is working through his elbow injury, so no guarantee he'll even be ready or available for Monday night, which does open the door for Theo Benedict and Ozzie Trapillo to stack games. And they're young and have every right.
Said it yet? I thought
nothing's official. I mean, it's early in the week. The game's on Monday, so first injury report will be on Thursday. But indications in terms of reporters that were at Hallis Hall today for practice on who was on the field and who wasn't. It sounds like Darnell Wright was working on an opposite field where the Bears team wasn't practicing. So it's still early in the game to make any definitive conclusions on who's going to be there. But Colston Loveland did sound like he's ready or gearing towards being ready to go. Kyler Gordon just straight up said, I'm playing on Monday. So we're getting some.
That's big.
Yeah, that is big. So, but nothing in terms of Darnell Wright yet. But I'm excited for these young tackles, man. Like, bring on the competition. And I understand Darnell Wright certainly is arguably their most talented offensive lineman, not just tackle. But the discipline thing has been an issue, not just this year, but for the last few years.
Yep.
And it has been called into question how much he loves the game and how much he's going to dial into his, endurance or stamina and, his work ethic. Was called out by Dan Roshar saying, when he's not, when he's not getting himself ready for the week, that takes away from his mental approach. So, it's going to be interesting to watch these guys go out there because they're young and they have every opportunity to get better as these weeks go. So to me, the biggest thing out of all of it was to watch Ben Johnson have the stones to make that move in the middle of a game where you're getting wrecked by the Raiders. You can make the argument that is a big reason they don't win that football game without that switch being made. I know a lot of other things that happen.
Greg, it's the showcase of your first question to me. There's a guy that's maniacal. He's doing whatever needed to be done to win, because if you kept doing that, you're going to lose and your quarterback might get hurt because it was that bad. Braxton and Benedict playing right was like a sieve. It was just meet you at the quarterback. Both ends were just destroying it. So props to Ben. That's really a showcase that this guy is everything that I was hoping a coach for the Bears would be, and address even how he addressed the woman. I don't know if you ever brought this up, but I felt like people made a big deal about it. The Ocho boys, like, please, guys, grow up. It's embarrassing. The coach handled himself like a head coach should. The question was dumb. It was almost rhetorical, taking a shot, and you're pissed off going into the halftime, pretty much knowing that we got to fix this or we're going to lose. And what did he do? He fixed it and showed that he was right. And he was right to her. So I just, that's another check in his box as a head coach to me, how he handled that. To some soft people in this really soft world where everybody's got to get a trophy, I'm finally seeing a head coach be a Chicago Bears head coach. Now, if he stands up to the GM and the owner, then he is the real deal. So we'll see how that goes.
Well, and he ended up, kind of the next day kind of cleaning up a little bit or apologizing for how he handled the halftime interview. But ultimately, you do see a guy, Shayne, that is, I mean, we played it. I think I still have the graphic. This was in the preseason. They're up 28-0. Yeah. Look at how pissed off he is.
But
and
that's
I know that for the three of us,
yeah,
this is just refreshing. And that's fine. He made a mistake being too hard on the sideline reporter at halftime. But that's how locked in. When you talk about this team needs to be locked in on Monday, that's how locked in this head coach is.
Team is a reflection of
when you talk. The other word you always use, Phil, is identity. These players are taking on the identity of their head coach. This quarterback is taking on the identity of their head coach. And we have been waiting for this kind of head coach for a long time, Shayne.
Yeah, we've talked about it forever. And, you can go all the way back and everybody's like, Lovey got ran out of town and they should have No, they fired Lovey when they should have fired Lovey. Listen, yeah, you were in the same boat where you could never fix your offense ever. And he came here in 2004. It was the same thing over and over.
They just hired the wrong guy.
Yeah, but it's just like saying that the Bears don't spend money. They spend lots of money. They just don't spend it in the right ways.
Right.
They don't spend it on the right people. Now you went out and you paid a premium for a big time prospect at head coach in Ben Johnson. And to Phil's point, now you're starting to see some of these things that we've been waiting for forever. Just like, I know Phil kind of alluded to this, the way that Theo was struggling at right tackle. You name me the last Bears head coach that would have pulled Theo out and just not played him, let alone move him to left tackle and then bring in Ozzie at right tackle. Matt Nagy wasn't doing that. John Fox wasn't doing that.
They would have never benched Leno.
Smith.
Remember Leno, like 6 sacks, 3 pressures in a game. He's still out there, and people talking about, well, he's, the best ability is availability, Greg. And yeah, that'll work. No, it never worked. So
I don't know. Did you guys see the I forget who, it might have been Kevin Byard was interviewing Tyson Bagent. Did you see that exchange about Ben Johnson when Ben Johnson, told the team, he's like, get away for a few days, get away from football, kind of, and this wasn't for the bye week. This was back, preseason when they were leading into the regular season, just told him to get away for a couple of days. And Tyson said to Ben Johnson, well, Coach, you told us to get away. What are you going to do? And he's like, I'm going to be here. I need this. I can't get away from it. And that Phil got, painted with a broad paintbrush when he said, you need a maniacal coach, because people are like, oh, Phil saying you got to have somebody that's in there breaking chalkboards and ripping TVs out. No, it's not that. Now we need the GM to be that way.
Yeah, absolutely. And to finish your thought here, we're going to head to overtime here on CHGO Bears After Dark. And that is the most professional transition in a pinch that you'll ever see.
Absolutely.
Finish your thought, Shayne. I apologize.
No, it's just it is what it is, man. It's you see these little nuggets, these little morsels that get you excited. And oh yeah, by the way, we love the prospect that he's here to procure at quarterback, and they're making strides together. And that's where it all starts. And it goes back to how I started this show. Monday Night Football, it is the statement game. It's the biggest game since, the Bears were in the playoffs, or the double doink, or what, whatever game you want to look at. It's a statement game. You have to go out there, make a statement on the road, on national TV. All these guys like Chris Canty and probably even Carm want the quarterback to go out and struggle. That's what they want.
Yeah. I mean, and to me, the big thing when you talk about the storylines of this game, Caleb Williams, homecoming part 2, make up for last year's loss, Tyrique Stevenson, maybe the biggest one to have to try to make up for last year's loss with the Hail Mary against Washington. The team itself implodes. When you talk about both teams at that point last year, based off of that Hail Mary, went in 2 completely different directions. One team lost 10 in a row and had to firebomb all of Hallis Hall. And Washington goes on to the NFC Championship game, and Jayden Daniels wins Rookie of the Year. But then, I also think the other aspect of this too is Ben Johnson could have been the coach of Washington the year before. He had his pick. Obviously he wanted to stay in Detroit for another year to see if they could win a Super Bowl. And he's come out and said that he felt like he needed a little more, cooking in the oven as a coach. But at the same time, he did have an opportunity to potentially coach Washington and potentially Jayden Daniels, and instead he chooses to come to Chicago. So
do you think he does that if the Bears job is open?
What's that?
Do you think he still makes that statement had the Bears job been open last year with Caleb Williams, with his choice of any of the rookie quarterbacks coming in?
Right.
I'm not so sure he does.
Yeah. I mean, I guess we'll never know. And we're lucky, honestly. I'm grateful
100%.
Ben Johnson is here, and we're lucky that the cards kind of fell the way they did. The Raiders thought they were getting Ben Johnson. That didn't happen. So HL Priest with a $5 super chat here as we start to wrap things up, saying, I'm really hoping that some of what Ben has will rub off on Pace. Cough, cough. I mean polls. Hashtag New Era Bears. Hashtag TTNL for life. Hashtag Go Blue. With your Wolverines hat over here. So I know that's the squad's team, not the Michigan Wolverines.
Right.
But you're a Penn State guy, right?
No, I don't really have a team.
If he had to pick a college team, he'd pick Iowa. That's the truth.
I always have a underdog root for Iowa. Because they never have a quarterback.
Who was stupid enough to give to give Karma degree, right?
Was it
University of Iowa?
Oh, Phil just fully pivoted. Yeah,
let me get out of Iowa.
No, he claims Northwestern as his sports heart, but yes,
really,
he's a graduate of the university.
E.J. Armstrong and Roy Marble.
Yeah.
In the day,
every tight end ever. Well, maybe not
you.
Yeah. So. All right, guys. Well, I think that wraps things up for tonight. The next time CHGO Bears After Dark will be on the air will be next Tuesday, which will be hopefully a victory Tuesday as the Bears play on Monday Night Football. So set your schedules accordingly. We'll be back at this same time slot next week, breaking down the Bears and Commanders game. Hopefully it's a big win, and we're looking at a Chicago Bears team that's over 500. Appreciate everyone hanging out here in the chat. Please hit the like button before you head on out. And thank you to everybody, and specifically thank you to you two fine gentlemen, as you guys always bring it. So make sure you're following along with the guys over at Tape Never Lies Network. Adam Rank had some scheduling stuff. He'll be back as the schedule works out, kind of gets bumped around between Mondays and Tuesdays, and he's got a soccer championship to chase as a coach as well.
Another coach.
Yeah, another coach. We got Hall of Fame coaches on the program here on CHGO Bears After Dark. But we all got to put our kids to bed. So we appreciate everybody hanging out tonight. CHGO Bears will be back tomorrow afternoon. And obviously make sure you checking out Tape Never Lies Network. You guys will be live at 7 p.m. Central, correct?
7:30.
7:30
Central. Yeah.
7:30 tomorrow.
We do everything east because we're on the
yeah,
right
you guys
coast.
are the East Coast. Being in Vegas, that was a watching games at 6 a.m.
Poor little lamb, Greg.
I know.
I talked to him on the phone. What are you doing today? He goes, well, I got to get up. I got to play golf. Then we're going to Grimaldi's for pizza. And then I got to watch Thursday night football. So yeah, Shayne, I got a lot on my plate.
Hard knock life.
I barely survived. My wife barely survived as she was watching the debit card tick away every 20 minutes, but we survived. But appreciate everybody following along. And yes, I'm back. We're living and looking for the Bears to get over 500 here. So that wraps things up. Thanks again to everyone. We'll catch you later. And as I always like to say, keep your head up and always bear down.
We all silly like the mayor.